You're looking at what might be the most important SUV Mazda has ever imagined, and maybe the most dangerous one for the entire luxury segment. Because this isn't just another big family SUV with a new badge and bigger screens. This feels like something else entirely, something that quietly asks a very uncomfortable question: what if you no longer needed a Range Rover or an Escalade to feel premium? Take a second and really look at it, not just as a Mazda, but as a statement. Because the 2026-27 CX100 doesn't look like it's trying to fit into the SUV market anymore. It looks like it's trying to rewrite what people expect from it. And that shift, that's where things start to get interesting. Mazda has always been the brand that sits slightly outside the mainstream conversation. Not cheap enough to be basic, not expensive enough to be called luxury, but always just close enough to both worlds to make you wonder why it feels different. And now with something like the CX100, it feels like Mazda is done playing in between. This looks like a move upward, but not in the way you expect. Because most brands, when they go premium, they chase numbers. Bigger engines, bigger screens, bigger price tags. But Mazda has always chased something else: feeling, balance, connection. And now the question is, can you bring that same philosophy into a full-size SUV without losing it? From the outside, the answer looks surprisingly confident. This is not the soft, rounded crossover shape that fills every parking lot today. The CX100 stands tall, wide, and deliberate. There's a certain seriousness to its stance, the kind that doesn't need to shout to be noticed. The hood sits higher, giving it a more commanding presence. The shoulders feel tight and muscular, almost like the body is carved instead of assembled. And that alone already separates it from the usual soft luxury shapes we've gotten used to. Look closer at the front, and you'll notice something subtle but important. Mazda hasn't abandoned its identity, it has sharpened it. The grille is wider, more controlled. The lighting is thinner, more precise. Everything feels tighter, more focused. It's not trying to look aggressive for the sake of it. It looks intentional, like every line has a reason. And that's where most SUVs fail. They try too hard. Too many fake vents, too many unnecessary creases, too much visual noise. The CX100 does the opposite. It uses restraint as its strength. Clean surfaces, strong proportions, and lighting that defines the character instead of decorating it. From the side, you get that long, planted silhouette that instantly signals something more expensive than it actually might be. The roofline stays practical, which matters for real-world use, but the details, that's where the personality lives. Blacked-out pillars create that floating roof effect. The wheel arches are strong, but not exaggerated. The wheels themselves look large enough to give presence without turning into design gimmicks. And here's something interesting. This SUV doesn't try to look like an off-roader pretending to be luxurious, or a luxury car pretending to be rugged. It sits right in between. And that balance, that's incredibly hard to get right. Move to the rear, and the same philosophy continues. A slim light bar stretches across, emphasizing width. The tailgate looks clean and structured. No fake drama, no unnecessary elements. Just a confident modern design that understands something very important. In today's world, people don't just buy SUVs for space anymore. They buy them for identity. And the CX100 looks like it knows exactly what identity it wants to project. But everything changes the moment you step inside, because this is where it stops feeling like an evolution and starts feeling like a shift. The first thing you notice isn't just a screen, it's the way the entire dashboard transforms into a digital environment. Wide, seamless, and integrated. Not like someone placed a tablet in the middle and called it a day. This feels designed from the ground up to be digital. The driver display flows into the central infotainment. The information spreads naturally across the dash. Navigation, media, vehicle data, everything feels connected. Almost like the car isn't just showing you information, it's organizing your entire driving experience. But here's where Mazda does something most brands forget. It doesn't feel cold. Because technology alone is easy. You can put a massive screen in anything, but making that technology feel human, that's difficult. And this is where the CX100 separates itself. The materials still matter. Soft leather, warm tones, layered surfaces, subtle textures. It feels like a space designed for people, not just for software. Imagine opening the door at night. The cabin greets you quietly. Ambient lighting spreads softly across the interior. Not too bright, not distracting, just enough to make the space feel alive. The seats look inviting, not just supportive. The steering wheel sits exactly where it should, and the entire cabin feels like it has been prepared, not just built. You sit down. The door closes with that solid, reassuring sound. The screens wake up, but they don't overwhelm you. They ease in. Your profile loads automatically. Seat adjusts. Climate sets itself. Music resumes. Navigation already knows where you might be going, and that's where things move beyond design, into intelligence. Because the real future of SUVs isn't bigger displays, it's smarter behavior. Think about how people actually use their cars every day. Same routes, same preferences, same habits, And yet, most cars still wait for you to tell them everything. Adjust this, select that, change this again tomorrow. A next generation system doesn't wait, it learns. The CX100 feels like it's designed for that kind of ecosystem, a system that understands patterns, that anticipates needs, that reduces friction, not in a way that feels intrusive, but in a way that feels natural. You walk toward the car, it recognizes you. The doors unlock without hesitation. Inside, everything is already set the way you like it. The temperature is right. The seat position is perfect. The lighting matches the time of day. Your phone connects instantly without that awkward delay. And then there's navigation. Not just directions, but awareness. Traffic patterns, road conditions, fuel or charging stops, weather changes. It doesn't just react, it predicts. And here's the important part. It doesn't stay the same. Over-the-air updates mean the system evolves, improves, learns more over time. The SUV you buy today could feel different a year later, smarter, more refined, more in tune with you. That changes the entire ownership experience. Because for the first time, your vehicle doesn't feel frozen in time the moment you leave the showroom. It grows. Now, step back for a second, because all this technology means nothing if the car forgets what it's supposed to be at its core: comfort. Because this is still a full-size SUV. And that comes with expectations. The seats need to support long journeys, not just short drives. The cabin needs to isolate noise, not amplify it. The ride needs to smooth out imperfect roads, not highlight them. And everything about the CX100 suggests that Mazda understands this responsibility. The front seats look wide and structured, not overly sporty, not overly soft, balanced. The driving position sits higher, giving you that sense of control without making it feel like a truck. The center console creates a cockpit-like feel, but without closing off the space, and that balance continues throughout the cabin. Because a large SUV can easily feel either too open and empty, or too cramped and over-designed. The CX100 aims for something in between, a space that feels intentional, calm, organized. For families, that matters more than anything. Because real life isn't cinematic. It's messy, it's busy, it's unpredictable. School runs, grocery trips, long drives, unexpected stops. And the SUV needs to handle all of it without turning into a burden. From what we can see, the CX100 is designed with that reality in mind. The second row looks spacious enough for adults, not just children. Legroom appears generous. Headroom isn't sacrificed for style. And the overall layout suggests that passengers aren't an afterthought. The rear cargo area looks wide and usable, not just deep, but practical. The kind of space where luggage fits without a puzzle, where everyday items don't feel like they're fighting for room. And that's important, because practicality is what turns a good SUV into a great one over time. But here's where things get even more interesting. Because Mazda has never been about building machines that simply move people from one place to another. It builds experiences. And that raises a question. What happens when you take that philosophy and apply it to something this large? Because performance in a vehicle like this isn't just about speed. It's about how it feels when you're actually driving it. A big SUV should feel stable, but not heavy. Smooth, but not disconnected. Powerful, but not overwhelming. And if Mazda stays true to its DNA, the CX100 won't just aim for numbers, it will aim for balance. You can expect a range of powertrains. Likely turbocharged engines, possibly hybrid support, maybe even plug-in options depending on the market. But the real story won't be what's under the hood. It will be how it delivers that power. Because Mazda understands something many brands forget. Drivers don't just respond to acceleration, they respond to feedback. Steering feel, weight transfer, control, even in a large SUV, well, that matters. And that's where the CX100 could surprise people. Because if it manages to carry that signature Mazda driving feel into a full-size platform, it won't just compete with luxury SUVs. It will challenge them in a way they're not used to. And suddenly, the conversation changes. It's no longer about who has the biggest screen, or the most aggressive design, or the highest badge value. It becomes about something much harder to measure, how the car makes you feel every time you drive it. And that is where this SUV could become something special. Because in a market full of vehicles that try to impress on paper, the CX100 feels like it's trying to connect in real life. And if it gets that right, then this isn't just another entry into the luxury SUV space. It's a disruption. A quiet one, but a powerful one. And maybe that's exactly what this segment didn't see coming.